Hi guys, what's up? Welcome to another very cool and exciting Projection 3D video tutorial. In this one, we will make this beautiful city of the future. And we'll also use Element 3D plugin to add flying ships. So if you're ready, let's get started. So as you already know, we should model all of these buildings. So we can do it the usual way, as we always do, which is to model all of these small details on the buildings there. Or we can create a rough mesh and use our clean edges feature. So this time we're going to try and do that, and that means that we'll be using clean edges. But in order to be able to use clean edges, we'll need to do some preparation in advance. We must separate buildings from the background and save images with Alpha Channel. So I try to do it in Photoshop. But very soon I realized that the picture is a little blurry and small object edges are not very sharp, so it's kind of difficult to select them with the selection tool. Now we could go ahead and try using pen tool, but it's like doing it in After Effects using masks. So I just did it in After Effects. Now look, this is the original image, and this is where I masked all the objects in the foreground. So as you can see, all the buildings are neatly selected with all the small details. And here in this copy, I separated the buildings in the background from the environment. And then I saved both as PNG files. And so now let's see what we have. Here are the foreground objects. And here we have all the background objects. And then there's clean environment without any buildings. And finally, we have the original image. So I'll attach all of these files to the tutorial so that you wouldn't have to do all of this excess work. Now, as for your own projects, you can separate objects either in Photoshop using selection tool, or you can do it in After Effects using masks. So whichever way you find more convenient. Okay, now let's create a new project. And also let's import the original image. Then we're going to create a new comp, 9020 by 1080 with 30 frames per second. Okay. So I'll drag this into here. All right. And now guys, we should match our camera, and we're going to do it in FSPY. I'll uncheck this, then match X lines horizontally from left to right. Okay, now for the second line, over here. Cool. Now I'll move the Y lines. Okay, now let's enable XY grid floor and see if everything is okay. Maybe just fix this line a little bit. Okay, that's great. Now let's export our camera as JSON file now. Great. Now we'll go back to After Effects. I'll open Projection 3D and import camera. Whoops, deselect this, try again. Great. Now I'll click Show Hidden Layers and adjust the grid. Disable scaling on all axes and scale along Z. Then X, and Y. Cool. So now I'll just hide the grid, select both image and the camera, and click Create Projection. In this project, we're going to need 3 copies. So double click projection scene 3. And using helper grid properties, we'll create a ground plane and the backside plane. Very well. Okay guys, now let's do the buildings. We'll generate position for the building in the back. And now we'll go to primitives and add a cube. Then, using anchor point editor, we'll adjust it. I'll check this and move anchor point over here. Okay, good. I will now disable scaling on all axes and adjust the cube scale so that it covers the entire building. Also, let's cover this little building over here. Now scale along Y, and then Z. Okay, good. Now let's generate position for the left part. Then I'll add another cube primitive, and also adjust position using anchor point editor. Then scale along Y. Make sure the primitive starts here. That's good. Now scale along X. Make sure you don't go over the edge of the front side. And scale along Z to cover this part. Well done. Now we did the buildings. So let's see. Only 2 cubes, see? But that's quite enough. We don't want to model a complex surface. Okay, now let's do the building on the left. Generate position. Create a plane using generate plane from points. And then draw a rough mask like this. So that's pretty easy, wasn't it? Now let's generate position for the building on the right. Right here on the edge. Add a cube. Adjust it. Scale along Y. And then along Z. Good, that's all fine. And now let's create a surface for this little one. Now guys, notice how building's position must be generated on the bottom plane. So before creating position, make sure you have bottom plane selected. So I'll make a plane. I'll mask it. Good. So that's it. Looks like we've created all the surfaces for all the buildings and the background. Now let's select all models and move them to projection scene 2. Cut. Go to projection scene 2 and paste. Cool, let's see. Now, as you can see, models cover buildings, but they are also a part of the environment, which is something we're gonna have to work with. So let's fix that now. So I'll click replace projection image and select this one. Now you can see that the buildings are still here, but the rest of it is now white. So now head over to utilities and use clean edges. All right, and so now we have nothing else there but the buildings. Great, isn't it? Just the buildings. Okay, and so now for the foreground. So I'll select bottom plane, generate position. Let's first do this one. The base of the building should be here somewhere. Okay, now let's generate plane from points. Draw a mask. And the next one, generate position. Create a plane. I'll make a rough mask. Okay, now this one looks fine. All right, guys, now let's do the road. For this, I'm gonna have to select a ground plane and generate position right here. And then add a plane primitive. So move it along Z to cover the entire highway. It looks like it needs some stretching. And now we need to raise the plane since the highway is over the ground. So like this. Let's stretch the plane a little bit more. We need to draw a mask along the edge of the highway. And from here, no need to be totally accurate. Here we have a mask along the outline because we still need to create some support for the highway. So I'll open Surface Modeler to do that. Now select this vertex and get it. And do the same with this one. Create a polygon, rotate it using 90-degree button, and then adjust the mask. Like this. Okay, it's done. Let's check it. Yeah, that's great. Move on to the next one. So let's do the building on the left side now. So I'll generate position, create a plane, then make a mask like this. I'll adjust it. It should only cover the front part of the building. Okay, good. Now we'll do the side part using Surface Modeler. Get vertices and make a polygon. Then fix orientation. And now we just need to adjust the mask. And now generate position over here. Create a plane, mask it. All right, let's see. Good, we're moving on. Now here, we'll just add vertices, like that. Another position over here. Another plane. As you can see, the orientation isn't totally correct, so we should tilt the plane. And draw a mask. Okay, good, let's move on. Here we can also add vertices and drag. All right, and the building is complete. Let's see. Okay, perfect. So what else? Let's make position for this one here on the right. It should probably be somewhere over here. Cool. So now I'll add a cube primitive, then adjust the position using anchor point editor and rotate it and adjust the scale. Reduce the cube along Y, increase along Z, like that. And also reduce along X. Okay, now for the orientation. And increase along the Z some more. Okay, let's see. Maybe just a little bit more. All right, and that's taken care of. Well done, guys. Looks like we're done modeling. Now let's pick all the foreground objects and move them to projection scene 1. Perfect. Let's see. Yeah, let's replace projection image. Apply clean edges. Now it looks like we forgot about this round building here and this little one over here. So let's do those real quick. Make a plane. Mask it. Okay, now generate position for the round building. Add a hemisphere primitive. Rotate 90 degrees along X. And move it to the proper place with anchor point editor. Yes, that's right. Disable scaling on all axes and adjust the primitive. Okay, that's enough. Now select both and move them to projection scene 1. Okay, great. Let's see. Now guys, I noticed that the round building and the tower are sort of merging. Since they have a different position, this is not acceptable. So head over to projection scene 1 to fix that. Select the tower, add a vertex here, and drag it like this. That's it. Now our scene is complete. Okay, now let's tidy up a bit. And don't forget to increase shadow map resolution in all your projection scenes. Well done. Let's see. We also need to replace projection image in projection scene 3. That's Future City PG. Great. Now we can animate the camera. Click Q, U, and add a key on position and point of interest. Go to the 5th second. Reduce composition duration to 5 seconds. Right click, trim comp to work area. To work faster, head over to resolution tab and set it to quarter. And then create movement using camera tool. Great. Let's see. Set full resolution again. Now let's pre-render and have a look. Well, I think it looks great. All objects are moving properly, and from the point of view of physics, the scene looks correct. As you can see, using clean edges, you can achieve the desired result much faster, and your scene will look no different than the one with a high poly model. So let's add some spaceships to the scene. Now you can download those ships from free3d.com, or you can use some of your own models if you have them. I'll put the links below so you could download the ships if you want. Although I somewhat changed these models, kind of simplified them a little, added some details. So you could use the original and the modified one. Okay, so now we're gonna use Element 3D plugin. So I'll create a new solid. I'll call it ship 1. Click OK. Then I'll go to Video Copilot and choose Element 3D. Open Scene Setup, Import, and choose Model Ship 1. Okay, now let's scale it down like this. We need to know the approximate size of the model in order to know how to scale another ship. Now select this, and in the Edit tab, scroll down to the very bottom and mark Draw Back Faces. As you can see, we have blue flames now. Also select Body Material and also check Draw Back Faces. If you want more intense flames, you can increase the diffuse value. See? Okay, this looks fine. But let's also change the texture of the environment. Let's choose this one. Great. Click OK. Go back to After Effects menu. Open Group 1, then Particle Replicator, and then Rotation. Set Y to 180. Using position X, Y, and Z, move the model to the proper place. Okay, I think that's fine. Now let's go to Render Settings, Lighting, and in the drop-down menu, change light type to warm. Great. Now, as you can see, the ship is integrated into the atmosphere of the scene. Now we can animate it. So let's do that. Add keys on X, Y, and Z. Go to the end of the animation and create movement. You can also move it along X and Y and set the direction you want, like this. Good. Let's check it now. Pre-render. Now, it flies too slow. Let's speed it up. To do that, let's move it back along the sea. Let's see it again. Not bad. but let's move it back a bit. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's what we need. You can move it even further if you want to. Okay, now let's add a sun. Here we have a sun flare image, so import that, put it here, and change blending mode to screen. Okay, the sun is shining. Now let's pre-render and see. Looks great, doesn't it? The only thing I don't like is that the ship looks dark by the end. We should fix that, and that's pretty easy. So press T and animate opacity. Put the key here. Go to the end and reduce it. Okay, now everything seems more or less perfect. Let's go ahead and add another ship. Create a new solid. Name it. Add element plugin. Go to scene setup and import the second ship. Good. It's there, but it's too small. Let's make it bigger. Like this. And it's going to be a little smaller than the first one. You can see that this model has no texture, only white stuff. But for our tutorial, it will do just fine. Just make it dark brown. Too much gloss. Should be less. Okay, cool. Now for the environment texture. Okay, that's it. Go back to After Effects menu. Open Group 1. Particle Replicator. Rotation. Rotate 180 degrees along Y to set the right orientation. And then put the model in the right place. And also let's tilt it so that it enters the frame at an angle. Like this. Now you can play with the parameters to find the best position and the best angle. Okay, looks great. Add keys on X, Y, and Z. Go to the end, create movement. Also, I should tilt the ship. Whoops, I forgot to add a key. It's okay, I'll add it now. Let's move keys forward so that the second ship appears a little later. And also add a key here. Tilt the ship again. Click U to see the key and the timeline. Good. Now let's move the ship back along Z to add speed. Let's see now. Move Z rotation key to where the ship enters the frame. Excellent. Let's pre-render and see what it looks like now. Great. Now just reduce ship's opacity at the end. Press T. Add a key here. And in the end. And let's see again. Looks perfect. We only lack motion blur. Select ship 1, go to render settings, open motion blur tab and change comp settings to on. Set motion blur samples to 12. Cool. And also do the same with the second ship. Okay, let's see. Cool. Okay, what else? Let's sharpen it up. To sharpen the scene, add new adjustment layer. Put it here. Go to Effect, Blur and Sharpen, and then sharpen it. Set it to 20. Or maybe 25. Let's have a look. Okay, I'll pre-render now. Yep, looks great. Now I just need to shake the camera when the ship appears. So I'll do that. Create a new solid. Call it camera controller. And click OK. Switch this off and put it on top of the camera. Go to Effect, Expression Controls, and select Point Control. 0 values. Select Camera, press R to open Orientation. In Tutorial Asset folder, we have a text document called Expression. Open it, copy text, close it, hold Alt and click Camera Orientation, and paste expression here. Okay, let's see when the ship enters the frame. Let's make it shake from here. That's 1.05 seconds. So add a key, move forward to 1.10, set values 20 and 0.2, go forward to 2.08, and add another key. Reduce value from 0.2 to 0.1. Go to 2.14 and 0 values. Now let's see when the second ship enters the frame. Okay, let's start from 3.12. Now copy keys you created and paste them here. Select these two and move back on the timeline. Let's see. Maybe just move them back a little bit more. Cool, that's enough. Let's pre-render. Okay, great. Now we can have a look. Yes, it looks cool. And our scene is complete. Okay guys, looks like this is it. I hope this tutorial was useful and it taught you some important things. So thank you for watching and we'll see you later. Bye.